All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and welcome to week three. That's right, week three of your 7314 course, which is your reference course. A few things that I wanted to do just as housekeeping first, and then we're going to jump into some things about interlibrary loan and searching for articles and that sort of thing, some of the basics in how to look for articles through your University of Missouri website. We are going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about that stuff for maybe about 20 minutes. But first, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. First of all, if you have not done the syllabus quiz, which I just looked through the grade book and it looked like everyone did, but if you have not done it, let me know. I will allow you a opportunity to do it after the due date. But again, I think everyone has actually taken care of that, so that is a moot point. All right, the second thing that I want to talk about here is that, yes, your reference interaction report is due on September 8th, which is this coming Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So try to get that worked on. I want to hear not just about what you did, but I want to hear those reflective elements as well. I want to read that. Look at that rubric. Just make sure that you are following what is asked for on the rubric. And let's just take a look at that rubric. Okay. So you are going to have to reference some of the readings that you've made, that you've done so far, including the RUSA guidelines. You need to be complete, answer all of the questions thoroughly, but answer them in essay form. And that does include reflections on the experience and reflections on professional reference practice. So don't just give me the, this is what I did. Yes, 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 yes. You will have to reflect on the experience. And I know that sounds kind of overly romantic about reflecting on a reference experience, but you're in a reference class and some of you may find yourself being reference or public services librarians, and therefore you are going to have to be able to reflect on these experiences and get a handle on whether or not you could see yourself doing this type of work. Also, documentation, what type of library did you go to, date and time, and other pertinent facts. So make sure you get all of that going for 5 total possible points. Also, make sure that you are working on that semester-long project. Just work on it throughout the semester. That's why it's semester-long. And with the virtual reference practice paper, I do need to go ahead and figure out how I am going to replace the question point service in doing this assignment, which will be due on October the 6th. But I'm going to figure that out somehow. So hopefully by the end of this week I'll have an update on the virtual reference practice and paper, but you guys are focused on the reference interaction report for right now anyway. So that is the housekeeping. Now let's get into the Mizzou website, specifically the Mizzou Libraries website, which is library.missouri.edu. Because you all are graduate students within this Mizzou program, you have the right to use the library in any way that the on-campus students do. Now, naturally, if you live in Nebraska or any of these other states, if you don't live near Columbia, you'll probably have some issues as far as getting materials if you want to check materials out from the library. But if that is ever needed, then you can contact your library liaison and you can get that information and make arrangements for receiving hardcover items or physical items, depending on how the Mizzou librarian directs you to do so. So first thing that we probably need to do then is find out who our University of Missouri librarian is. Okay, so first of all, let me say that there's a little bit of a pro tip here that I am trying to deliver. So for those of you who don't know, oftentimes what libraries will do when attempting to hire librarians is they will, during on-campus interviews, oftentimes ask questions that relate to their own website. So what they want to make sure of is that you are familiar with that institution's website, their library website in particular, and sometimes you might even be asked to know how to perform a basic function of the library that you can find on the library website. So this is some very important knowledge to have. Just if you get invited to an on-campus interview, try to know the library website as thoroughly as possible. That is a pro tip. If I've seen it once, I've seen it a million times, and I will just keep it real with you. You may have a leg up on the competition if you can navigate the library's website in a semi-competent way during your on-campus interview. They're not going to expect you to know it inside and out, but if you can say things like, so I looked on the library website and yada, 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 that will impress some people because then they know that you are specifically gunning for this job. You are not just trying to find any job. They will take that as a sign that you have a particular interest in their particular institution, and that goes well. So I'm not going to go through the entire library website for University of Missouri because a lot of you are not trying to get there, but I am going to, or not trying to work there, I should say. But I am going to show you some of the tools on their website that will be useful for this class. Now, first of all, who is your subject librarian? You will be, at different times in this program, you will be needing to make contact with your subject librarian. So we've got some tabs here when you're at library.missouri.edu. You've got some tabs here. And one of the tabs that you will see is for subject librarians. So this is very important when you're an academic librarian, is to be able to point out to the public and to patrons who is their subject librarian if your library has subject librarians. So if you click that, you all are in Library and Information Science. So let's scroll down and see if we have a Library of Science. Yep. So we have a Library and Information Science librarian, and that is Kimberly Muller, and this is how you can reach her. So if you have questions, if you need some help when doing some assignments in here, sometimes I'm not going to answer the question. I know that's going to be harsh, but sometimes I am going to tell you to get in touch with your subject librarian, who is Kimberly Muller. And again, this is her contact information, including a phone number and an email. So this is how you would reach her. And I think she's even got a little faculty page here. Yes, she does. So you can see that she is a subject specialist for Library of Science as well as a number of other areas. And she is also one of our proud CISL alum. So reach out to Kimberly if you have some questions. Reach out to me, of course, if you have questions. But if they are specifically, how do I find an article? I might refer you to your subject librarian just so that you can see how she does her job, and she does her job very, very well. Anyway, let's get back to our library homepage. So, one thing that you all are going to have to get in the practice of doing, and again, I am very old school in my approach, and this is what my library school professors did to me. So it's what I am going to do to you as well. You are going to need to know how to use the information that you have available in order to find materials that you do not have immediate access to. And if you are a librarian, then one thing that you will do in your librarian time, one thing that is actually crucial to your job, is that you will be looking for information, for articles, for whatever, and people are going to give you very limited information. Sometimes all they'll offer you is the book was blue, and that's a running joke, but still, sometimes you're going to have instances, for instance, where you will just have a title and an author for a journal article, and you've got to figure out how to get to that journal article. So right now we are going to go over some of those basics so that if you are looking for articles and you can't, let's say that my links have died in Canvas, well, you're going to have to look for the article yourself. And so I am going to teach you how to do that. All right, so let's start this off with the I'm looking for a specific article feature. Let's do that one. So as you can see here from the home page, we've got looking for, and there is a specific article, a feature. So let's do that one. Okay. Now, here's how this works. You're looking for a specific article and you're brought to a page that looks like this. Now, let's say, and by the way, I have not done this search recently, so I don't know if this is totally going to work out all cool the way I would want it to, but there's no need for me to just show you a perfect situation anyway. So I am running through this the same way that the same way that any researcher would. Let's do this emotional reactions to black bodies thing here, and let's see. All right, got an article here where we can only get to the abstract online. By the way, I should have said this. If you already know how to use like Journal Finder and Interlibrary Loan and those types of functions, if you already know how to do that, then you probably don't need to watch the rest of this, but you can if you want to. But I don't, and a lot of you do already know how to do that, but not everyone does, and I cannot assume that everyone does. So, okay, let's say we wanted the full text of this particular article, and we know that we have the title here, title of the article here, we've got the title of the serial here, and we have authors. So that should hopefully be enough to get us what we need. So let's plug it in and see if it works. Original articles. Let's plug that in. Whoops. Okay. We are being asked, see, that's why I said what I said. So we are actually being asked for every school is going to be a little different, you know. We actually want our journal title here. So we have the Visual Communication Quarterly, and we do have the Volume 13, issue number 1, and we have a year of 2006. So Volume 13, issue 1, year 2006. And let's see if we can also give them a start page. A lot of times we won't need the DOI number, but you do have that DOI link here. Let's see, pages 4 through 15. So we start on page 4 and let's see what happens. Oh yeah, well, that happens. Oh boy. Okay. Uh, like I said, I'm just running through this. All right. What did this do? And this got me back to, as you can see, one thing that we've got here, we've got this full access here. So that would be, I'm just going to the different tab. This is, sorry if this is confusing, but what happened was when I just tried to reach this through Google Scholar, I did not have full access as a check here, and I was being asked to log in. But now it's showing that I have full access. I am being asked to log in, but it's also saying that I have these proxies that I am going with through the University of Missouri. Now, again, we just see the abstract right now. However, hopefully when we click PDF, we will be given the full article. So let's see. Yes. So this was something that I couldn't get right off of Google, but when I went through the library's article finder feature, then I was brought to the full text. I did have to click for the PDF. Sometimes you won't have to do that, but in this case I had to. But clicking that PDF did bring me to the PDF, and from here I have the entire article in full text. So that's how that feature works. Now, there are also going to be times when you are going to just want to browse a journal. So you are looking for a specific journal, but not specific content in the journal. You are just trying to get to that specific journal. Well, again, it can be done, and it can be done fairly easily. When you look on this looking for tab here, go to specific journal. Let's say you wanted to do Library Quarterly. You just type Library Quarterly in there. And I know this looks the same as the page that we were just on for a specific article. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if there's any real difference. I just know that I click on the appropriate one every single time. But you can find Library Quarterly here. Here we're run to the Library Quarterly, a main page. And you will usually get date ranges. So if somebody is asking for a particular article, then make sure that they are, make sure that you make the selection that is appropriate to the date range. JSTOR is a database that does not do recent stuff. Like pretty much everything in JSTOR is at least 3 years old. But JSTOR is really, the point of JSTOR is really to be a collection of older materials. So you've got the Chicago Complete Collection, you've got JSTOR, and I am actually surprised that, I'm actually surprised that we don't have another option there, but we don't. So we are going to go through one of these. Now, Dr. Jace, I actually have something in Library Quarterly from a couple years ago, and it did come out after 2004. So, but it was in the last 4 years as well. So JSTOR would not be where you want to go. For instance, if you were trying to find my Library Quarterly article, so you could instead go here. And so yes, this will allow you to browse issues, so you could technically just decide you wanted to select a particular issue and look through it. But you could also search. So first, let's just do the browse articles feature. Let's say you did want to browse a 2018. We'll do this one. So you can just go in, click that particular issues. This is volume number 88, issue number 1. You can click that, and you can actually look at your full text just by clicking the full text. If you aren't familiar with the article, then you can read the abstract. The abstract is a summary. You can read your abstract to see if it's something that you can make use of. And then if it is, then just click full text, and you should have that full text access. As you can see, this is long. Now, I do believe and hope that I can search here. So if Dr. Jace is looking for his own article, oh, well, I don't see myself popping up there. Let's see. Oh boy. But yeah, that's me. So even though I didn't pop up as an author here, maybe because I wasn't the lead author, but still, when you do that keyword search for me, then I end up being here. So you can find Dr. Jace's article in this publication that way and get this full text here. Okay. So, and this was while I was at my previous job at Coastal Carolina. But anyways, that is how that works. Let's show you just a couple of other things. All right, now these things may be a little more familiar to you all, but again, I don't want to make assumptions. I have made assumptions about people's knowledge in the past and got burned for it. And plus, I had absolutely no library experience before I actually became a librarian. So I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. So I am definitely going to say that I don't want to assume that you all do. First of all, and I did that without telling y'all what I was doing. When you're looking for specific databases, you can go to the database page, and a lot of times you're going to be looking for your databases by subject. Sometimes you'll be doing it by type or by name, but most of the time you're going to be looking by subject because that's how inquiries tend to come to us. So you can click by subject, and then let's say you wanted the Library of Science databases, you could click Library of Science, and you will actually, this is actually a LibGuide that you're looking at right now. So you all will have to construct a LibGuide later on in this course. You're looking at one right now. So this is generally what they look like. And again, that is our friendly library liaison, Kimberly Muller. And the actual databases for the subject would include really library literature and information science full text is what we're working with. There are some other library of science databases that I think Missouri had to drop recently. And then ERIC and education full text are more full text. Not more full text. They're more education type databases. Now here, at Mizzou, the Library of Science program is delivered through the College of Education, so that may be another reason why education databases are listed here in particular. But this is useful. This LibGuide should also make you aware of various reference sources that can be helpful to you, as well as specific books that may be helpful for you. We even got the call number ranges here. And so those are pretty important when you're actually physically in the library looking for things. Also, you may have to interlibrary loan articles, and you have already paid for the ability to use interlibrary loan. So just saying, since you've already paid for the ability to do it, you may want to do it. So let's say, and we can all right. Let's see if this works. Okay, so if I need to get something through interlibrary loan, and I'm going to again go back so that you can see exactly how I did this. So let's say I want something and it's not available through the University of Missouri at all. What I can do is I can go to the request an item or the ILL at MU form. Can select one of these options. I am going to select this one, and this is how I do interlibrary loan. So let's say that I want to make a request for a new article. I can click new request an article, and let's see what we can come up with here. Something that I won't have access, that I'm sure I won't have access to. Yeah. Let's see. Looking for something. Hold on. I'll actually pause this. Okay, so I found one that I believe we are not likely to have access to in the Mizzou databases due to the age and also the area that it's coming from. It's coming from Britain. We have a lot of international materials, don't get me wrong, but international materials are often harder to get a hold of. So let's say I needed this article for something, and all I have here is an abstract. So I need to get the full text of this article. Do not pay for the article. Here's what you do. You go to Interlibrary Loan and you fill out the fields. So this is my article title, and I will place it in the article title field, which is here. This is from a journal called the British Journal of Psychiatry. So really it's just filling out the appropriate fields. So that would go there. We have volume 159, issue 4, so we can put that in if we want to, even though it's not required, but I'm going to do it. 159. Ooh. Issue 4. Do we have a month? We may not. Oh, we do. The month, October 1991. We're actually going to grab these pages too. Give me the pages. Give me the page. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to grab those pages. We've got October 1991. Those are our pages. Article author, again, is not required, but since we have it, we can just go ahead and put it in. Might help them. David Alexander and Andrew Wells. All right. We can delete that A stuff. And we submit the request. And then I will get a message probably within the next 5 days letting me know that they either were able to or were not able to get this article. And if they were able to get this article, I will receive an email. I will open the email, download the article, and I will have it. Now we are running short on time. This is actually taking me longer to do than I had expected. But let's just see if there is anything else that you should need to know for the purposes of this class. You can always learn how to do these other specific features, including renewing books, going through the classic catalog and things of that nature. Classic catalog is pretty useful when you're looking for books in particular. So if, for instance, you don't want journals or magazines, a lot of times you just, in those types of articles, let's say you just want a specific book, and I don't know what book, we'll search by author, but maybe something by Stephen King. I don't know. Did I even spell his name right? Sure. Okay. So the classic catalog, and there you go. these should technically be things that were authored by Stephen King, and not just things that are about Stephen King. But there's no, as you can see, there's no guarantee on that. We've got this thing in special collections here, clearly not authored by Stephen King, but you know, and I'm looking forward to It, which is coming out. Whoa, that has been missing since 2011. So, yeah, that is how you use the classic catalog, and classic catalogs are very advantageous for when you are searching specifically for books. Please just go back on your own time and learn some of the other things that are available through the University of Missouri Library. Because there is a lot of good stuff offered by the library. Another thing that I would say is course guides are very useful for different classes, not specifically my class, and maybe not any of the Cecil classes. Actually, one of them we do information policy right here. But this can also be, the research guides are also very useful for, and I use library guides and research guides interchangeably, but these are very good for learning about various things, various subjects, including like the Civil War, or, you know, there's one for copyright here. There's probably one for, is there one? I know that there's one for OERs, open access journals, all of these things. So off-campus access. For those of you who are distant students, which I think is probably going to be most of you, this may be helpful. So familiarize yourself with the Mizzou Library website. It will definitely come in handy for you. But I have talked way longer than I expected. This is an optional video. Again, you can speed these up and I'll make note of that. But I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.